One, because that's a glorious series that you won't want to miss. Second, this will definitely spoil you for the end of that series. Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about all the books that I really want to get to before the end of the year, hopefully. And let's start with the first book that I had it on my September TBR, and then I tried to read it during October, but I just didn't get enough time. I mean, there are only so many days in a month and I just couldn't get to it, but I really want to read it, and I have it right here. The Curse of Saints by Kate Dramis. I got this book early this year in a fairy loot box, and it's an adult fantasy romance, and since then I heard only great things about it, so I really want to get to it. In this book we follow Aya. She's a spy master to the queen, and Aya has a blood oath that ensures that she only uses her powers to protect those she fights alongside with. And on the other side, we have Wilde, who is the queen's enforcer and Aya's bitter rival. When rumors of dark magic rise in a nearby kingdom, both Aya and Wilde are sent to investigate. But when Aya's power acts against her blood oath, and also she risks being turned into a weapon against her own kingdom, and of course her relationship with Wilde starts to shift, neither of them knows the danger that will follow. As I said, I only heard great things about this book, and I think it's the first installment in a series, so I want to keep up with the series and I really want to read this before the second one comes out. We have morally gray characters, and I know that in this book we have a lot of tropes that we all love, at least I do. Like the slow burn romantic tension, the fine, make me your villain, I'll burn the world down for you. And I cannot wait, just hearing that, I cannot wait to get to this one. So yeah, this is the first book that I want to get to before the end of the year. The second book that I really want to get to is The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. This is the sequel to the Shades of Magic series. Now, this is technically a spin-off, but I wouldn't recommend reading this before reading the Shades of Magic trilogy. One, because that's a glorious series that you won't want to miss. Second, this will definitely spoil you for the end of that series. So I highly recommend reading A Darker Shades of Magic first. And since I cannot talk about this book without spoiling the other books, I will tell you about the Darker Shade of Magic book. In this book we follow Kel, and Kel is an Antari. Antari means that he's a magician with rare powers and coveted ability to travel between parallel Londons. We have red, grey, white, and once upon a time, black London. Kel was raised in Arns, which is red London, and officially services the Maresh Empire as an ambassador, traveling between the frequent bloody regime changes in white London and the court of George III in the dullest of Londons, the one without magic left to see, which is the grey London. And he exchanges letters from the kingdoms to his king, he sends and receives letters and sits down with the kings and talk about politics. And unofficially, Kel is a smuggler, servicing the people that are willing to pay for even the smallest glimpses of a world that they will never get to see. And of course, this is forbidden. This is against the law. So Kel is doing it behind the back of the king. And after an exchange goes sideways, Kel escapes to Grey London and runs into Delilah Bart, our cunning thief. She first robs him and then saves him from a deadly enemy, and finally forces Kel to spirit her away to another world for a proper adventure. And because of a thing that has been smuggled, they find themselves in danger and also in a perilous situation that could bring the end of all Londons. So they decide to work together to save their world, and it's an outstanding, magical, amazing fantasy. You need to read them. If you want to read the last book, The Fragile Threads of Power, you need to read the series and you will not regret it. These characters will live with you forever, and they are just one of the most memorable characters I have ever read about. And yeah, I highly recommend you picking this series. You will fall in love with Kel and Lila and Holland and everyone else. Rye, Alucard, everyone else. You will fall in love with them. I highly, highly recommend it. The third book that I really, really want to read is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. It is her debut adult fantasy. This is a new world. This has nothing to do with the Shadowhunters. So if you didn't read the Shadowhunters universe, this is your chance to start a new world with the amazing Cassandra Clare. In this book, we are in the vibrant city of Castellane, where the richest nobles and the criminals and everyone in here are in constant search for wealth and power. And we are following our main character, Kel. He is an orphan, stolen from the life he knew to become a sword catcher. A sword catcher is the body double of a royal heir, Prince Connor Aurelian, and he has been raised alongside the prince, trained in every aspect of combat and statecraft. He and Connor are as close as brothers, but Kel knows that his destiny is to die for Connor one day, so there is no other future that is possible for him. On the other side of the city, we are following Lynn Caster, who is one of the Ashkar, and the Ashkar are a small community whose members still possess magical abilities. By law, they must live behind walls with the city, but Lynn, she's a physician, and she ventures out to tend to the sick and the dying of Castellane. Despite her skills, she cannot heal her best friend without access to forbidden knowledge. And one day, after a failed assassination attempt brings Lynn and Kel together, they are drawn into the web of the mysterious Rack Picker King, the criminal ruler of Castellane's underworld. He offers each one of them what they want most, but as they descend into his world of intrigue and shadow, they discover a conspiracy of corruption, and as long-kept secrets begin to unravel, they must ask themselves, is knowledge worth the price of betrayal? And can forbidden love bring down a kingdom? And will their discoveries plunge their nation into war and the world in chaos? This is just so intriguing to me. I really, really want to pick this up and enjoy it like so many people are enjoying it now and reviewing the book. And I don't want to get spoiled, so I really, really want to get to this as soon as possible. The next book that I want to get to is a reread. It is in preparation for the next book releasing next year, and it is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Here we are following a Cambridge professor, Emily. She's very good at what she does, which is studying fairies, but she's definitely not good with people. She journeys to a small town in the far north to study fairy folklore and discovers dark fae magic. She finds new friendships and potentially love. This is a cozy fantasy but with an academic feel, with footnotes giving us the research and published notes on fairies, and the story itself is told as Emily's is writing it as her research diary. So it has like an academic feel to it. And it is low stakes, and it has an enchanting scenery and atmosphere. And I think if you love cozy fantasy with a little bit of romance, you will definitely enjoy this one. And I really want to reread this before we get to the second book next year. So yeah, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. The next book that I really want to read before the end of the year is the first book in a completed series, and it is called The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. It's a YA fantasy romance, and it's so popular, and I really want to read Dance of Thieves, and you cannot read them without reading this because you will be spoiled. And I really want to read this series too because I heard only the greatest things about it, and like, if you didn't see my unboxing, the character art itself screams to me, and I cannot wait to pick up these books. In this book we follow Princess Leia, and her life follows a preordained course. As first daughter, she's expected to have the revered gift of sight, but she doesn't, and her parents are arranging her marriage to secure an alliance with a neighboring kingdom to a prince that she has never met. and she's against it. So on the morning of the wedding, Leah flies to a distant village and an assassin was sent to track her and kill her. And also the angry prince that she refused to get married to is also trying to track her down. And the story starts from there, where Leah starts to uncover secrets about the kingdom and starts to fall in love. I really want to get to these books, and I hope I read this before the end of the year and join the fandom, hopefully. The next book that I really want to get to is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I want to reread this before I read Twisted Crowns. I loved this book the first time around, and I'm pretty sure I would love it more the second time. The vibes of this book are so dark and immaculate. We have our main girl, Elspeth, who has a kind of spirit living inside of her, and its power is growing little by little as we go. We have a cursed kingdom and magic cards that hold power, and Elspeth and the king's nephew cross paths and they get entangled trying to lift the curse. And I loved it and I want to reread it, as I said before I get to the second one. We have a unique magic system, dark secrets, political subterfuge. We have fake dating, if you love that trope. We have a slow burn. We have slight enemies, I wouldn't say that. We can say like reluctant allies to lovers. And we have the most immaculate gothic fairy tale vibes. I highly recommend you pick this up too if you want like that gothic fantasy. And it fits this time of the year perfectly. So yeah, I really want to read One Dark Window. The next book that I want to get to is Lightlark, in preparation also for the second book, Nightbane. So in this book, every century the rulers of 6 realms are invited to Lightlark, which is an island where they fight to death to try to lift the curse that plagued them a long time ago. Each realm's curse is unique and each ruler has something to hide, and to destroy the curses, one ruler must die. In this book we follow Isla, who is the young ruler of the Wildling realm, a realm of temptresses cursed to kill anyone they fall in love with. They are feared and despised and are counting on Isla to end their curse, and there is an enemies to lovers. Let me start by saying something. This book is far from perfect, and I know that. It is a debut novel, so go in with lowered expectations when it comes to the writing. So if you are here for the perfect writing, you will not enjoy this. This is not for you. That being said, it is a very entertaining book. If you are looking for a story that will grip you and keep you turning the pages, dying to figure out what happens next, then this is for you. Pick it up. It's full of action. It is fast-paced. You will not get bored one single second reading this book. I highly recommend it for people who want to have a great time reading fantasy, and I really want to read it in preparation for Nightbane because that ending was brutal. This is my last book, so I have a total of 8 books to read before the year ends. Tell me which books you want to read before the year ends. If you made it this far, please leave me any star emoji of your choice. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe so we can become bookish friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!